educate clients.
Okay.
Because the clients don't know this. You're the expert, they're not the expert. They see the TV shows, they see how everything is like you go from the design and everything's poof, it's done, right? And in reality, it's not that simple. There's a process. Welcome to the Cutting Edge Show, a business and construction podcast. I am your host, Carlos Guerrero. Enjoy the show. Welcome to Cutting Edge Show. Here we actually have a construction owner that came here today, Arturo, to seek help from us to teach him how to help him with his construction business. Arturo, ¿cómo estás? How are you?
Good, how are you, man?
We're gonna be speaking bilingual today, right? English and Spanish.
Yes, please.
So thank you for being here today. I know that we actually met in a training that I did it was like 6 months ago, maybe?
Yeah,
8
the
months
last
ago.
year.
And we had a show, we had like a training that they invited me to talk about feeling stuck in your construction business. And you were there with your lovely wife, which she's here behind the scenes as well. And basically what happens is that you saw something, like you saw that I'm doing the business, and then you're actually in the business too. We're talking about how you're open your construction business, but you feel stuck and there's certain problems. Tell the viewers basically what's going on in your business. Tell me, because I want to be able to provide you at least steps by moving after you leave this training today, this meeting. I want to be able to give you information for your business so that you could basically relieve some of the stress that you're going through right now.
Thank you so much for letting me be here. So my name is Arturo. I'm a civil engineer from Venezuela. I'm running this company from 2 years ago. I started this business with my wife. It was very hard because we don't know anything about the construction business here in the United States. But we start working, doing all the stuff by myself. Okay, I painting, I put the floor, see the steps we need to do it. But right now I want to grow my business. I take care of 3 projects at the same time, full renovation. But I feel I don't manage them at well, because I don't have the preparation, I don't have the team are ready to do that. So I do everything by myself. I'm the business owner, I'm the sales manager, I'm the project manager, So I think it's too much for me to do everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And basically to rephrase what he's saying is he came from Venezuela, right? And he saw an opportunity, and I want to be my own boss. I want to start my business, because everybody that comes here, they see the opportunity, they see other people doing it, and they feel that they could do it and it could be easy. But the reality is being a business owner, it is very complicated. It comes with a lot of sacrifice. It comes with a lot of hours. It comes with a lot of failures. It comes with a lot of things that you didn't expect that was going to happen. So number one, congratulations for basically taking that approach and actually opening your business. Because a lot of people, they rather be the 9 to 5, and that's perfectly fine. But you have to have something in you to say, you know what, I could do better, I could do more. I'm gonna start my business. Even though you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, but congratulations on that, on taking the initiative. Now, you're in the business 2 years, and we were speaking about right before we started that interview. You're in the business 2 years, and a lot of people are gonna be in this place too. His first years, he did an amazing $300,000 gross revenue. Now, that doesn't mean he took $300,000. That means he was able to collect $300,000, and obviously then he's at his expenses. Cool. Now, the second year, you're basically already in the 4 months that we're in, you already have been able to do the $300,000, and your target to do $1 million.
Correct.
Which is amazing when you first start in your second year. Now, without me asking you what's the problem is, I know what the problem is because I've been there. When you scale your businesses fast and you don't have your foundation in place, it is very hard, because now you need more time on your day. That time that you're putting into it, you're probably not doing it as efficient or effective as possible, which then becomes it falls on your clients and falls on your projects, on the quality, and then it just becomes like a mess of stress, and people are not happy, and then you're pretty much not knowing who to blame. What are you doing? But what I'm seeing from you is the initiative, right? You basically drove from Orlando all the way here because you want to help on yourself, and that is number one. The people out there that want to start a business or are in the business, if you don't seek help from somebody, if you don't go out of your way and really put that time and effort in your mindset and in learning, it's gonna be a very, very tough road to success. And most business owners, logistics that start business, they go out of business because it's really hard to stay in business if you don't have the right mindset. So I'm glad that you're an example. I congratulate you because I was there where you are sitting there today. Many years ago when I started my business, I was in my truck, I was doing everything like you were doing. And at some point you have to grow up and you have to push through and learn. So congratulations on being here today, learning. Again, my goal for this coaching session that we're having is to give you information so that you could apply in your business and get you from here to here. It is going to be a long journey and you need to surround yourself with the right people and you're going to have to hire the right people to help you little by little. So if you could tell me 3 major things, like the biggest problem today in your business that you need help, I will be more than happy to guide you with those 3 things. What are they?
I think the first thing is how find my right subcontractors.
Okay.
Because in the field, we can find too many people say, yeah, I know how place floor, I know how to do the bathroom.
Yeah.
An expert, exactly. But at the end of the day, they don't do it right.
Okay, so this is a perfect question, guys, and this happens to everybody, right? When he means subcontractors, when you start to basically hire help to actually do the work, because at the end of the day, you as the business owner, you as the project manager, you do not want to do the physical work. You basically want to be in charge of the project. You want to manage the project. You don't want to work in the project. And what happens is that if you don't have the right help to work in the process, a lot of times it's like, okay, let me do it myself because I could do it better. Exactly. But then when you put your time and effort on doing it yourself, it takes time of the more important things that you should be doing, like marketing, like sales, like creating a team, like creating a process, being process driven, tracking data. That's very important, by the way, guys. You gotta learn to track data so that you can see what's working and what's not working in your business. And we'll go more into that a little later. But to answer your question, how do I hire the right contractor? And the problem that most people have on hiring the right contractor is gonna be, do you have enough money to pay the right contractor, right? And it starts from that estimating. Like if you underestimate your project and then you go in and you seek contractors and then you have, let's say $10,000 budget for a tile guy, but the tile guys are charging you $15,000, $16,000, then you may feel that you have to go with the cheapest routes to be in with the budget. But if you make your decision based on the cheapest route, what happens is they're gonna do a bad job, or you're gonna overspend because you're gonna have to redo the work, or they're not gonna be able to finish. That comes with a whole bunch of domino effects. So my suggestion to you to find the right contractor, it starts from the estimating. Make sure that you have a realistic budget for the work. That's first and foremost. If you have a realistic budget, you're gonna be very limited. But let's say that you already passed your initial budget. Then you have to have a process on how are you gonna bring new contractors to your team. And the process could be as simple as you're gonna call them, you're gonna ask for 3 references of other contractors that they're currently working. You're gonna call the contractors and you're gonna say, hey, this guy says that you work for it. And you have to take the time, but if you wanna do it, you have to do it right. So first, you're gonna call the contractor and you're gonna ask him for the 3 references. You're gonna speak to all 3 people and you're gonna ask the other contractors, hey, how is this guy working on your job sites? Does he show up on time? Does he do what he says? Does he drop additional work orders? Because a lot of times too, you wanna see how they work. Like a lot of times, a contractor will give you a very low price, but they wanna basically upsell you and change orders and take advantage of the situation. The other part is, that's where you come in as that project manager. If you're not being clear from the beginning, your expectations, what the scope of work is, how exactly they need to work, how they need to leave the job site, you have to set a set of expectations that from the beginning you're explaining to them what they need to do so that there's no miscommunication. In addition to that, your contract with your subcontractor has to be in detail. Number 1, this is what you're gonna do. Number 2 is what you're gonna do. Number 3 is what you're gonna do. Number 4, very detailed, because the most important thing is communication and alignments. And this is with anybody, a contractor, a client, a partner. This is with anybody. Alignment is so important, and it's by communication and being clear on the expectations, being clear on what to expect, what not to expect. And then obviously the payment terms, when you're gonna pay them. So when you have that clarity and you could present that to the subcontractor from the beginning and they understand that, that's the first step. Then you get the references. Then You want to send somebody to a current job that they're doing and go check the work. Like if they say, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do that, okay, great. Can you give me an address so I could go pass by your job site and see the work that you're doing? And when you go to the job site, if they have a job site, you want to check how they're working, are they working clean, are they working organized, how many guys are there, how do they look, and that's how you're able to qualify what they're saying. Because everybody's going to tell you, I know how to do it, I know how to do it. But at the end of the day, in their belief, they know how to do it. But maybe you have a different standard.
Correct.
You understand? And that's where you get complicated.
I got it. Yeah, I think the most important thing is go to his job site.
Yes.
And see how the world looks.
You have to.
He can talk anything.
Yeah. You have to qualify him.
Correct.
In your business, you need to have what does qualification in my business means. Number one, for example, in my business, you need to have a license. You need to have insurance, liability, and you need to have workers' comp. If not, you cannot work for me. Number two, you need to have a crew of people. Number three, we need to check your work. Number four, I need references. If I want to bring somebody new, because I'm not just protecting myself, I'm protecting my clients, which is the most important thing. If you want to be successful in this business, you got to put your client first. That is the number one, and you have to listen to your client, because a lot of time we take complaints as, oh, they're complaining, it's a bad client. But if you really listen to them and you really take their advice and you apply it to your business, your process, your success is going to be much smoother. Because why would you want to run a whole project that's going to take you 6 months, 8 months, a year with a client that you have this? It's a team thing, right? So you want to do that for your client, most important, and also for yourself. All right, so does that answer your question about getting contractors?
100%.
Good. Major problem number two.
Well, I think like account time, they make the right number for the estimate and everything. I think I realized these years, I see a lot of videos in YouTube and check all my books for the university, for my career. But I think we have too many fees, too many things we need to take about, the taxes, the overhead, the materials, the 10% extra in the materials, too many things. If something's coming wrong, we need to take more in the pocket for fix it. So I think that part is very hard for me, take care if I have enough money for paying me, because I work as a project manager in the field and everything. Sometimes I don't pay me for go to the field. So because I don't know how management that money. Or sometimes I don't pay my wife to do the marketing. But she do it and make lead for us. So that's I don't know how to manage that.
So you're asking how to prepare an estimate that you include all the stuff? Or
no.
I mean how to manage it?
It's more how management, what I do is the money, how including the estimate, everything in the overhead. It's more about the overhead.
That's a great question. So the overhead, so what he's saying is that he's giving a price, but then a lot of times the price is not covering his overhead, right? So the most important thing is that if you're gonna treat this, you have to treat it as a business. If you're the project manager and you're not paying yourself a project manager, you're basically just giving your time and work away. Now, when you first start, you may have to do a couple of deals like this so you could learn. Because at the end of the day, when you're starting a business, it's not just how much money you're making. Yeah, that's part of it. But you're also building showrooms. You're also building people that are gonna refer you. So you have to look at the big picture, right? You want people to say great things about you. You want to have a showroom that you could say, hey, my existing client, I did a great job. You could call them and they'll call them. And so it's not just about the money, because I also understand that if you could be losing deals because maybe you go too high.
Exactly.
That could also be a problem, because if you get in these deals, if you're winning these projects because your price is too low, you're always gonna be the cheap company, right? So what you need to do is to raise your prices, you need to provide value. What value do you bring to the table, right? If I go against you in a project, why would they pick you over me if the prices are the same? And only you can answer, like, this is not for now, but you're gonna have to kind of come out, what value, how do you present yourself?
Do you have difference from the other contractors?
Correct, easier said than done, right? Because everybody's gonna say I'm professional, I am great, and I am the best, and this and that. But at the end of the day, like, you need to figure out, like, either a niche, something that you do different. Like for example, what we do is we pay upfront. Our clients do not pay us. We pay upfront and then we bill them after. So that's something that a lot of people cannot do because they cannot afford to make the payments upfront. We do that because I trust my contractors, right? So I'm trust that my contractors are gonna deliver what I'm saying that they're gonna deliver. So I'm able to provide that value to my clients. I'm gonna pay upfront. You don't have to worry about paying me anything. Once we make progress, then you're gonna pay me. So when I go in with that confidence, and that's important, you need to go in with the confidence when you're selling to your prospective. So now going back to your question about the charging and stuff like that, when you do your estimates, you have to have a line by line item for everything the project's gonna need, because the project's gonna need what the client needs. So if the client wants to do a kitchen, for example, a full gut kitchen, which that's what you're doing, right? Kitchen and a bathroom, sorry. A full gut kitchen, you need a demo guy. You need somebody to go and demo that, and you need to have a price for the demo. You need a electrical to do all the rough work. You need drywall guy to fix up the walls. You need the cabinet guy. You need the countertop guy. You need the painter. You need the flooring guy. You need the plumber. You're gonna need all these things in a project based on what the client wants. But in addition to that, you need a project manager. And that project manager, that line needs to have a separate price. Whether it's $500 or $1,000, only you could say how much that money is worth. You also gonna need general expenses like trash disposal. Like you wanna separate all these numbers. And then you need basically your 10, 15, 20, 30% markup, which is for your license, your insurance, your overhead. And this is how you pay your office, how you pay your stuff like that. So you need to have a markup. Your markup could be 10% because you're small. For me, my markup is 30%. Or for another person, it could be 40%. Like whatever markup is, you need to know your numbers. But every person, every position in your company, whether you're this small or this big, you need to basically know your overhead to stay in your business.
Correct.
Your overhead is basically what keeps the lights on in your business, what keeps the doors open. And it could be FPL, it could be your rent, because even if you're working out of your house or out of your truck, you still have to have expenses for the space. So you need to do your expenses. You need to know what the number is, and then you come up with your percentage. And then that percentage, you charge it on top of all the cost. Make sense for your estimate?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the thing is because when you go to look for a client, sometimes coming another contractor for the same work, a less price. Go to the client and say, hey man, I charge you the double, I don't know, something like this, because I really take about my things, you know, I do it first, I cleaning stuff, or I cover the areas, I doing things that the other contractor don't do.
It's not included, yeah.
Exactly, so I try to explain because the people only see, oh, he charged me $2 for a square footage, and I charge you $5. But I try to explain her what's the reason.
Yeah, so a lot of times what happens too is, and that's a great point, by the way. Like a lot of people, they just look at the final number and they don't like really go into detail. Your job as a salesperson, now we're talking about sales. Like if you're in that position, you're doing the sales, your job as a sales is more to educate the clients and why they need this, right? You have to be able to explain to them. And what happens a lot is like, they're not really comparing apples to apples. Your scope of work may be tile all the walls in the shower. Their scope of work will mean just tile the floors, as an example. If that scope of work is not clear from the beginning, they're gonna be getting multiple prices. What happens is too, in this business, is a homeowner will call a contractor without any plans, without nothing, just very beginning. They'll call a contractor, they come out, a contractor comes on a Monday, they tell them, I wanna do my kitchen, I wanna do my bathroom, I wanna do this, blah, 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 and they walk around the house. The contractor goes and he does his list of what he understood. The second contractor comes, the third contractor comes, and every time that they're going, the homeowner may change something around, may say something different. And what happens is that either she says something different or that contractor understood something else. So when you're doing your scope of work, when you're doing your estimate, you could have an estimate for $20,000 and one for $40,000. And people are like, oh, this guy's a ripoff. Maybe, I'm not saying he's not. He may be a ripoff, but before you make that conclusion, and I guess this is for homeowners, before you make that conclusion, you really have to understand what you're getting. Because prices, they vary so much. For example, if you're gonna go buy appliances, you could buy appliances for $3,000 or you could buy appliances for $40,000. It really has to do with what is it that you want. If you wanna buy cabinets, there's prices all over the place. You could get cabinets made in China, that come in boxes for $3,000-$4,000. You could get cabinets made in Italy that comes all prepared custom made for $80,000. So the prices vary so much. So it is very important for homeowners to really understand what people are proposing before they make assumption on the price. And when you're selling this, have to educate clients. Because the clients don't know this. You're the expert, they're not the expert. They see the TV shows, they see how everything is like you go from the design, everything's poof, it's done, right? And in reality, it's not that simple. There's a process.
That's correct.
Make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, third problem. What is your third problem, biggest problem that I could help you with?
Well, the third problem is how make a marketing strategy.
Marketing strategy.
Yeah, how keep that marketing strategy in the road. For example, the last month we started doing shows, in-person shows, and it's working. But the last show we go didn't work for take more leads. So how build that strategy so to integrate different marketing ways, social media, meet people. So I don't know how manage that. That's kind of thing.
I love that question too. Like what he's asking is how do you do your marketing for your business to continue the leads coming forward? And before you do any marketing, you have to understand a couple of things. Number one, who is your target audience? Who is your clients? Who are you going after? Are you going after busy professionals? Are you going after homeowners? Who are you going after? All right, who is your client? An owner. Yes, an owner, but you gotta be more specific so you can speak to this owner. Number two, what problem are you solving for that client? Once you answer those two questions, your whole marketing has to be based on talking to your ideal client, what problem you solve, how do you solve it. That's how you do your marketing. Now, I cannot tell you this platform is better than this. What I could tell you is that you need to be everywhere. Everywhere. You need to be in social, you need to be in ads, you need to be in signs, you need to be in events, you need to be networking. You literally have to be everywhere. But every time you go to a network event or you do a postcard or you do a social post, you want to basically talk to your clients and attract your clients so that you could build that trust. Number one thing that you guys need to do, that we all need to do in this business is you got to build the trust. Once you build the trust, then the sales comes after. But if you're not building the trust, if you're not building the connection, if you're not really understanding their needs, you should not assume their needs. You cannot come up with a solution to solve their problems. And again, everything's about the clients. What do they need? What expectations do they have? At the end of the day, how is this going to look? What is it that they imagine, right? But you need to understand who there is. Then you do your marketing based on your ideal clients and be everywhere, right? So you start with having a budget for marketing, whether it's $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 for the year. Then you have your budget for the year, and then you work backwards. Okay, so I have $10,000 marketing for the year. This is how much I can afford, which is fine. It's like your project, right? For your project, you have a budget, and then you have a list of things. And then you want to put $500 in Angie's List, $1,000 in house, $1,000 in postcards, $1,000 in events that you promote. Like you want to break down the cost, right? Then for each, you need to have a strategy. Like when you create the marketing, when you create the tension and then you have some interest, what happens next? How do you get interest from here? Because your job as a contractor, as a professional, is to take a client from this position that they have a problem, that they have a vision, that they want something, but take him to this step. What is the step in your business? Then take him to this step. Then take him here. It's called a pipeline. You want to take him through the whole pipeline. Your pipeline starts here. It's a full circle. Your client started here with an idea. Then she came here with the design. Then we did the plans. Then we did the estimate. Then we did the proposal. We did the contract. We started construction. We finished construction. They moved back to the house and they're happy. So you have to take the client through the whole cycle, right? But you need to understand who your client is for your marketing, if that makes sense.
Perfect, thank you.
My pleasure. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Now's the time. I'm gonna open it for Q&A.
Can I do it in Spanish?
Sí, español.
Cuando estabas en ese proceso de crecimiento, O sea, cuando diste ese paso, o sea, ¿cuándo te diste tu cuenta de que ya era el momento, por ejemplo, de dejar de hacer las cosas por tu cuenta? O sea, ¿qué fue lo que te hizo clip, o sea, como inspiración?
Buena pregunta. Crecimiento es todos los días.
Ah, por supuesto.
Crecimiento es todos los días. Pero tú tienes dos opciones para crecer. Tienes dos opciones para traer más gente. O contratas a una persona con experiencia que ya sabe lo que está haciendo y él te ayuda a hacer esos procesos. O you create process for you for the positions. Like you have to open up a position up in your business. What is that position going to be? Is it going to be an accounting? Is it going to be a marketing person? Is it going to be a salesperson? Is it going to be a marketing? Is it going to be a project manager? Is it going to be a supervisor? What position do you have open that's going to benefit you? What can you do that's going to benefit you in your business? Entonces, you have to do una lista de cosas que las cosas que tú haces. You have to do una lista of things everything that you do in a day-to-day basis. Basado en esa lista, empiezas a hacer, mira, esto lo puede hacer otra persona. Y sacas las cosas que no debería estar haciendo, como yendo a Home Depot a comprar materiales o hacer trabajo físicamente. Después puedes contratar a una persona, so they could basically do that list. They take the responsibility. If you're going to hire somebody new, you're either going to have to hire somebody que ya tiene experiencia haciendo esa lista, o tú tienes que hacer una lista de responsabilidades y de cómo hacer esa responsabilidad que solo las haces tú. Entonces, ¿cómo es esa lista de responsabilidades? ¿Qué es lo que tú haces que te hace el experto en hacer esa posición? Y después, cuando traes a una persona nueva, los entrenas para que esa persona haga exactamente lo que tú ya hiciste que te está funcionando. And how do you build trust? Asking questions. You want to get to know who you're dealing with, what are their fears. You have to learn to listen. You really have to understand. It's not about what you're thinking. You're the expert, yes. And you're the one that's going to provide the solution. If people do not feel that you understand them and that you're committed to them and that you are there to help them, it's going to be very hard for you to build trust. So ask questions, and if you understand, keep asking. You have to reframe it, re-ask in different ways so that you really deep down, because a lot of times you ask the first question, oh, what do you want to do? Why are you doing this? And they'll tell you, oh, I just want a better kitchen. But you have to peel the onion, right? And you have to be sincere about it. And you have to really, really focus on what they're telling you so that you could advise them and that you could come out as you care. And if you don't care, well, then you're in the wrong industry, because when you're doing this for yourself, when you're a business owner, this is your passion, right? And your number one goal, your number one thing is your clients. And if you cannot build the trust, then you might be in the wrong business. Definitely ask questions.
Can I say something about that?
Yes, of course.
Para nosotros que somos, digamos, business owners bastante jóvenes, es bien difícil crear eso, porque a mí los clientes me dicen, ¿quién es tu jefe? Y yo sé, no, yo soy el jefe. ¿Qué edad tienes? Yo, I'm 28. So, es como difícil, y si tú no creas esa confianza, si tú no lo dejas saber a ella que tú sabes lo que estás haciendo, ellos no te van a dar el trabajo. O sea, para nosotros es bien importante esa parte de que desde el momento que llegamos, las cosas que decimos y todo el proceso que viene después sea bien claro y entenderlos bien a ellos, porque si no es imposible para nosotros, porque ellos ya al vernos, que somos tan jóvenes, piensan que no tenemos la experiencia necesaria.
Claro, y la parte que tienes que hacer es mientras más estudias y más aprendes, más confianza tienes.
Correcto.
Y cuando te llegas con esa confianza en esas entrevistas, eso te ayuda. So you also have to build your confidence. How do I find a mentor in construction? Well, you have to find somebody that is doing what you want to do. So you have to look for somebody that is already doing what you're trying to do. And that could be your mentor. And then you could reach out to them and, hopefully they'll be able to help. But that's how you find a mentor. You reach out to somebody that's already doing what you're doing. How do you find the right people? Like if you're building your team, it's the same as finding a contractor, right? Like you want to basically be clear. If you're hiring somebody, you want to basically be clear on what your expectations are. When I hire people, when I try to get with people, I want to make sure that they're more involved in my core values. Are you committed? Are you going to commit to this? Why are you doing this? Are you just looking for a job or are you looking for a career? So I want to put myself around people that are open to learning. I want to put myself around people that have shown that they're going to commit. I want to put around people that are going to do whatever it takes, like that have my characters. That's number one. Number two, because everything else is coachable. And then are you coachable? I'm going to be able to teach you, and are you going to able to understand what I'm teaching you. But most important is that like you have to be aligned with the people they're gonna bring into your team. Like everybody has to have the same, but it starts with you. Like you as the owner, you as the leader, you have to create core values. You have to create a vision, a mission. And once you understand what you're creating and what you're working for and why you're doing it, then you could like basically bring people and like make sure that everybody's aligned. With the subcontractors, they don't have to be to that alignment. They definitely have to follow some kind of guidance that you're gonna have to set based on who you're targeting, based on what your projects are. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you wanna be part of our show and learn more, go to www.cuttingedgeshow.com. Thank you. Hey, if you want to be part of the show, go to cuttingedgeshow.com. Link below. See you soon.